Coming up on today's episode of the More Than Sunday podcast.
I didn't do anything technically wrong. I was still on the other side of the fence, but I was close enough to the fence that I had the same punishment as the guy who went in. And I think a lot of times in my life, I've tried to toe the fence as much as I can, but not go over into whatever that is. And oftentimes the actual natural consequence in life is the same as if you've just gone right over.
Welcome to the More Than Sunday podcast with lead pastor Scott Harris and your host Josh Rogers. Each episode, we aim to have honest conversations around daily living as a follower of Jesus outside of a church building. Thanks for joining us. Let's start the conversation.
Welcome back to the More Than Sunday podcast, where we talk about life and living as followers of Jesus on Sunday, but also the rest of the week. And Scott, you were just telling me that your voice is a little bit scratchy today.
Yes, it is. Hopefully I sound cool and debonair.
I have great news for you.
Yes.
We're going to do a drink of the day today. So
Ooh.
I had you in mind.
I love this.
I know. It's exciting.
Oh, dude, that looks scary. What is that? What's that?
It's called Liquid Death.
Oh, great. Liquid Death, what is that?
It is water. It's flavored water.
Wow, it's like intense. I'm like scared.
Have you had this before?
No, I've not.
So the whole thing is this company was started, Liquid Death, by a graphic designer who saw an opportunity. Some bands at Warped Tour were promoting energy drinks, but they were actually just drinking water out of the empty cans because they wanted to be hydrated but wanted to do the promotion. And so he was like, what if we did something healthy and good for the planet, nothing's made in plastic, that also was like funny and looked cool and edgy but was healthy? He's like, we haven't broken into that market, so here we go.
Wow. What's this? Squeezed to death?
Squeezed to death.
This is like hardcore. You got a little skull thing?
Yeah, dude.
If you're watching this, there you go.
I'm gonna crack these open.
We open it?
Oh, of course.
I feel like intense.
So I'm gonna need a on the scale of 1 to 10 rating for tastiness.
Liquid Death. Wow.
Oh, that's nice.
It's really good.
That's nice.
Yes.
Right?
Do these guys sponsor us?
They don't, but we can keep just throwing stuff on here and see if somebody will.
Liquid Death. I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we could be doing this, right? Does anybody sponsor us? Not yet.
Not what? No. We had one anonymous sponsor.
Oh yeah.
We did. Pretty cool.
So they sent us a little money, not very much, but thank you, whoever that was.
Yeah, shout out.
No, I'm gonna. Here's the deal: this is actually really good. I'm gonna tell you. I'm trying to. I am a pastor. I don't know if you know that.
I do know that.
And I feel a little. Carrying this around, is that even legal for me?
It is.
Maybe I'm a young, edgy pastor.
It's a bit of choose your own adventure. I'll give you that.
I'm not even joking.
Right?
This isn't even kind of good. It's really good.
Okay, so 1 out of 10. Where are you at on this particular beverage?
With the expectation of water, it's a 10.
Wow.
Yeah,
I found something you love.
Well, ask my wife. I am not a flavored water guy.
I know.
Liquid Death has done something different.
You know what? I saw it, and I knew I wanted to try Liquid Death because it's obviously out there. I've had a few of their teas that are pretty good, but I thought, you know what? I bet Scott is an orange soda kind of guy.
Yes, I am.
And
it's got a little orange. Are there different flavors?
I thought that might hit it. There's a ton of them because you can get literally just water.
Yeah.
And then they have like mountain water and spring. They do lots of different stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, when you drink Mountain Dew, right? I'm into that. When I'm drinking Mountain Dew, I get these self-images of me swinging off a rope swing out over the open water.
Exactly.
Having a great time. That whole doing the do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. What's the image that this takes me to? Liquid Death. I don't know, boy. It's an edgy
Harley. Driving a Harley.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Those are Harley colors. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. So it's the new edgy me. So coming soon. I don't know what that looks like.
Hey, I'm so proud that we got a 10 on 10.
Yeah, I'm impressed. but I have to. I'm old. The packaging is a little.
That's
maybe
okay.
a bit aggressive.
That's okay. That's why it's here. Okay. It's interesting to talk about.
I like it. Yeah, liquid death. Interesting. Okay.
So we can now enjoy these. The rest of the
and it's
episode.
helped my voice.
See, I got you, dude.
What about liquid life? That's not edgy, is it?
That's not so edgy. No. That's a skosh more on the in the arms of an angel kind of that
beautiful
space. Speaking of edgy though, I want to do a little. We haven't done like anything, behind the scenes in a minute.
Okay. And
I don't know if people know this, but sometimes I'm just gonna go out there and say it.
Oh.
I'm gonna pull the veil on this one for us. If sometimes we get on stage, and as someone on stage, you go to say something, and you get about a few words or a few sentences into a thought, and you realize, I'm not totally sure where I was going with this, and you got to try to figure out how to get out of it.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, every speaker, it happens to.
Okay. So that's out of the bag. Just so everyone knows that happens sometimes.
You know what happens the most? Prayer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, trying to land that plane sometimes. Like, I don't know how I got way over here, but
yeah.
I got to get this back to something.
Yeah. So I want to do a segment that we're going to call Speaking Whiffs.
Ooh.
Where we share, a swing and a miss.
Yes.
In that moment of desperation, of clinging on to that thought we thought was there, and then we discover maybe it wasn't as complete as we thought. I can kick us off if you need a minute to think.
Yeah. No. Go. You kick it off.
Okay. I have a couple. So, well, when you speak into a mic every week, they're bound to happen over time.
Yes.
So probably I have two top ones. I'll do the first one. Sometimes you're reaching to say something good about who God is. And I don't want that to sound like we're being haphazard about it, but sometimes there's emotion and feeling first, and then you're trying to put a word to it.
Yeah.
And one time I was leading, and it was a bit of like an exhortation at the end of the song. Let's thank our God, right? And I went to say unfailing and faithful at the same time, and ended up with let's thank our unfaithful God.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's one of mine.
Oh.
You got a speaking whiff?
Yeah, I've got a bunch. Yeah.
He said I've got a bunch.
Yeah.
We're being edgy today, man.
I know. Let's say liquid death. Well, that's what my hesitation. Just so you know, is I've got some that, have a little edge.
But underneath, there's sparkling water.
Yeah. See, it's sparkling. I should feel good, right? I'll just let this hang there, and you can. So I'm a new youth pastor speaking to the youth group, and I'm talking about Joshua crossing the Jordan. Okay. So, and I'm hitting on all cylinders. It's a good one.
Yeah.
All those kids we're going to go do some great things. We're going to cross our Jordan, and here we go, right, to our promised land.
Yep. It's like cry night at camp. People are ready.
And so I'm, telling the story, and so if you know the story, the Hebrew people come to the edge, and they put their feet in, and then the water is stopped, right? And they walk across. And so as I say that, to try to give them a description of what it was, I said, it was a goddamn.
Yeah, it was.
And this awkward silence, you can feel something in the air, because I was kind of ready for our next point, just to land this thing in there. And it was actually Sunday school. So these are the prim and proper church kids.
That's how these are, though, dude. You say them, and then you have to process for a second what just happened, but your mouth is still going. And
well, it happened this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was second service. You guys are back there. So I started off this last week message with a question, Mac or PC.
Okay.
Right, your personal computers and stuff, and then surprisingly, PC won out, Microsoft. I expected Mac, especially in the second service, a little younger crowd. And then I said, well, I guess the votes in that Northshore is PC, which has a whole political connotation, right?
Yeah, you did.
And I threw that out there, and I felt that awkward silence, and then that nervous laughter, and it hit quick. Like, I need to rephrase that, right? so you get those moments, right?
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so that was a solid one. I don't know that I can beat that one, but this is probably my least favorite one that I've had. At least people were kind of understanding what I was trying to do. I tried to go on to explain faithful and unfailing. This one, I was running out of time. And when you're running out of time, you're thinking about a lot of things at once. I'm playing my guitar chords. I'm thinking about the click track. The band's winding down. I'm looking at the clock thinking, we got to move to the next thing. This wasn't here. This was at a different church. And so we had to run right into announcements. And I wanted to get a quick, thanks for worshiping with us, and then have a seat. But instead, what I said was, thanks for worshiping us. Now you can have a seat.
Oh, nice.
And there was a lot of hesitating sitting. Wait, what did you say? And I didn't get to correct it. So that's just hung out there.
I've got the ultimate.
I can't wait.
I know. I mean, I'm going to guarantee you, because I don't even know why I tell it. It will make everyone that hears this uncomfortable. It's that bad.
Liquid death.
I know. This is a liquid death. I felt like dying. So the scenario is, I get a call from somebody I know about people I don't know. And they say, hey, Pastor, there's someone in the hospital who's passing. They're an organ donor, and so they're going to do the what they call it, the Walk of Fame. Have you ever seen that before in the hospital?
Is that where they kind of wheel them through?
They will, and everyone lines up the halls.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they said, and they said, his pastor is there. Okay, and will you come up? Okay, and I came up, and then there, and this and it's sad, right? And so this person they kind of confirm his death and these things, and I said a couple things, but their pastor mainly led it. And so as they did the Walk of Fame, the halls are lined with medical staff heading down to donate organs, right? So I'm walking up front of the bed, they're wheeling toward this elevator to take it to do those things, and I don't know the guy that's passed, right? And so we're walking, and I lean over to the pastor and say, what's his name? Gives me his name. So I keep walking, and then pull up to the elevator. Everyone's crowded around there, and they said, again, would you pray for this last prayer?
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Oh
so
my
I
goodness.
Said, okay.
This isn't going to end well.
So, here's the thing is, sometimes when you're praying when the Holy Spirit is kind of working, and okay, he's putting some words together. So this is going to be like, okay, Lord, thank you. I'm just pouring out, praying, and I just feel the life in that. And I start praying for him, by name and stuff and everything. And I get a nudge on my shoulder. And I open one eye, and it's the one person I know. And they whisper in my ear, that's not his name. It's this.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So anyway, I still feel horrible today because it was such a huge moment for the family and everybody. And I said the wrong name.
Did you go back in and say the right name?
No, I corrected. I figured the only way to do is, there's a saying, if you have to eat crow, eat it fast.
See, you're good at that.
Yeah.
When you say something, when you have a whiff, you're like, actually, what I should have said was, you do a good job of correcting that.
Oh, yeah. I needed liquid death at that moment. Anyway, so that was the worst of worst. My whole life I'll feel bad.
That one just hurts.
It does. It makes you uncomfortable. I mean, just paint the picture as everything that you're thinking that moment was like, and this guy says the wrong name. It's the worst.
Yeah. Ouch.
I know, it's painful. Painful.
Ouch. So we've had worship service. We've had concert. We've had Walk of Fame.
Sunday school.
We've had youth group. We've had all kinds of different stuff. As we move kind of to the main topic of today, we're going to be talking about life lessons or lessons as a follower of Jesus that we've learned outside the walls of the church. That's definitely not an in the walls of the church question. But for this episode and kind of what we're doing here with More Than Sunday, we talk about some and all the other things, whether it be, sports or you were a coach or with family or other things. What are some lessons that you have learned outside of the walls of the church?
Yeah, and things, when you ask, there's a lot, And I would say this as I'm hearing the question and what's, just going to my mind are things that I learned outside the church that were confirmed, in a sense with the church. For example, having kids, right? I didn't know. I'd heard about agape, unconditional love, and things like that.
Yeah.
My relationship with Sandy was the closest thing I ever experienced to that. But when you have a child, I mean, you're a parent, you get this. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, there's this. I mean, you get as close as us humans can to agape love.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, every cell of my body loved this thing, this baby. And it was really interesting is, you feel it waking up a little bit. I don't know if I could have defined it like that, but I still remember both my girls when they came out of the womb. I saw them and held them. It was unreal that, again, the closest of agape love, but unconditional love, that, and it's still true today. This, no matter what this creature does, I will love it. Right. So anyway, so I'd say that's one, there's a few others. How about you?
Yeah. I was trying to think through and make a list of a couple of them. Again, it's an interesting question because we could do this for 20 more episodes and not run out of material.
Yeah.
But as I was kind of praying through it, a couple came to mind. One of them, I was fortunate enough in high school to have a lot of different traveling opportunities, and things like hurricane relief, mission trips, conferences and things, and just a lot of different environments. Growing up in Indiana, you're not around a ton of different cultures than the one that you're kind of in your town. And so one of the trips that we took to Russia, and we spent, I think it was like 3 weeks in Russia and Europe. And one of the weeks was basically just a cultural immersion, which I certainly had never done anything like that before. I think I was a freshman in high school, and we just stayed in host homes with Russian families from a church that we were partnered with. And there wasn't really any agenda other than kind of being with them and traveling around their city to get to know it. And that was a cool experience of experiencing different, and at least for me, that immediate reaction of different was there's a sense of like, am I safe?
Yeah.
Super different. And so one of those cool things is learning, especially when it comes to culture and language and other countries and cities and places, that just the life is just different. Different doesn't mean unsafe.
Yeah.
And that was, a fortunate experience I got to have at kind of that formative age to like, oh, wow, this is different. And I feel uncomfortable, but I don't feel unsafe. It's just something different.
Yeah. It really reminded me of a lesson I learned on a mission trip.
Yeah.
I was an adult, and I was in Camden, New Jersey.
Okay.
Which at the time was, and I was a youth pastor. I took our youth group there. It was the murder capital of the U.S. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're there, and it's my eyes have never seen anything like that in the U.S. I mean, I've been to South Central Los Angeles and some harsh ghettos and stuff like that, and inner city neighborhoods. None of them held a candle to what I saw at Camden. So anyway, just tragic in a lot of ways, and a lot to be said about that. But we were working in an after-school program, and so they were all over the city, and so we just went places. So I went to this one place to help this young lady from Canada who was teaching there. She was a consistent teacher. So anyway, so I'm there, and I think 98% of the kids were black in this after-school program. So I went and, hanging out, and I'm sitting kind of in the back off on the side. There's kids kind of by me and around me, and she's teaching. And right in the middle of that teaching time, this young, about 10, maybe 11-year-old black kid turns around to me, looks me square in the eye, and says, "I hate white people." And so I'm kind of just sitting there, and I didn't know what to say. I'm sure I did a kind of an uncomfortable, awkward chuckle or something. And I just sat there, and a couple of kids around him, other black kids, kind of laughed, chimed in just a little bit. And then, teaching was going on, so they didn't say a lot, but said that and a couple other little things. But, let me know that they don't like white people. And so they get ready for a recess. And teacher says, Scott's going to go out there and hang out with you. I was like, well, the kids kind of hate me, it sounds like, right? So I walk up to her as they're all lining up for recess, and I said, "Hey, just so you know, I want you to be sensitive. You're sending me out there to be the one to watch these kids." And I told her what quick happened. She goes, "Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry." She goes, "Just a second." And she says, "Hey, class." And so I think she might have called me Mr. Harris. Just so Mr. Harris is going to go out there, and he coaches high school football. And that's all she said. And she says, "Now you're not a white guy. You're a football coach." I'm not joking you with that. She was right. She goes, "I'm not a white girl." She was white. She goes, "I'm Canadian." And so I got in line, went out to kids. That same kid that said that to me, I'm not joking you, was jumping in my arms. My best friend. I was throwing the football with him and his friends. It was beautiful. And what I learned, I knew I learned something I didn't know, that so much of racism isn't skin tone, but about systems and generational hurt.
Yeah.
And so that was, and I still of discovering what that means. But boy, I knew I learned a big, big lesson there in that very moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's cool, man. It's interesting, just like thinking back to, obviously not the same situation, but sort of this cultural difference that you're just faced with.
Yeah.
Mine, still being white people, but being in Russia, but just totally, different language, different everything. And it is, I guess all that to say, it's interesting how safe it can feel in the bubbles we sort of create for ourselves, but how much more there is to know about who God is, who his people are, and layers to that beauty that we miss out on when we do that. And I think you said it well, like it's a lifetime of learning and understanding and growing in that. But
and so much of that emotion, right, that let's call it fear, that word popped up a couple of times, is that's just what comes from the unknown. Once there's known, you know the person, the surroundings. And I love this about God. Right? All of a sudden you see the Imago Dei, that we're created in God's image, and something beautiful happens, and you see that beauty of just personhood and what we have and the love and care. And I would say that is the overwhelming majority of human states, but there's, where we're so segregated in a lot of different ways, right? Some of it, Russia, right? They're all the way across there, but there's so much that feeds into this unknown, that feeds a fear, and then now we have to live in that, right?
Yeah.
And so to step out of that, and again, my own experience. I mean, unreal beauty of the shared human moments together. So, probably a great charge to all of us, right? Is man, don't live in the mystery, because that is fertile ground for fear, which divides.
Sure, that's great. Yeah, that's well said. I love what you said too. Just the simple unknown to known.
Yeah.
Like, how powerful can that be in like so many different human situations, human conditions?
Yeah.
Unknown to. I mean, I think about you holding your daughter, me holding my kids for the first time. We talk about that feeling of like, whoa, this is a different level kind of love.
Yeah.
But then you translate that into how God sees you, and there's that shift a little bit from further from unknown into known.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And the same way of like the uniqueness of culture and the uniqueness of how we're each individually made, you further shift from unknown to known. And then one of the interesting things, I guess, about the question of outside of the church is those things are just happening person to person.
Yeah.
Which is another beautiful way to move from unknown to known.
Yep.
Which is very cool.
Yeah, what a privilege and a joy, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes courage, right?
Yeah.
The things that we've talked about, and I mean, even go right to the parenting thing as well, right? Not understanding that love, and you courageously become a parent, and you step into this, and all of a sudden you really learn something about God, right? And then and then He teaches you something about yourself and grows you.
Yeah.
It's just I love the point of this whole section of the life lessons that we get that become these enhancers of God's truth.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. I've got another one I'll throw at you, and then you can throw one back. But
I'm gonna drink some more liquid.
Do it.
Death. I was gonna call it liquid gold. I don't know what that is. Liquid death.
So it was either late high school or early college. A group of friends and I think we were trying to play music somewhere, and a friend of mine had a drum set that was in a storage unit that we didn't have access to. And so we went over, and he was like, it's fine. Like, I know the guy. I'm going to just hop the fence and go grab it. And then when I get back, I'll hand each piece over to you. Like, okay, sure. We need a drum set. Let's make it happen. So I think there were like three of us. Me and one other guy were standing outside the fence. And he had been in the store. Like, the storage unit was probably 300 feet off the fence. He'd been in the unit for like 2 seconds before like 5 cop cars rolled up. I mean, it just did not. Yeah. And most of them were canine cars. And yeah. And so then one of the cops jumped out, and, my friend and I were kind of up against the fence, and they came over, and then a couple guys went in and got the other guy that was in the storage unit and brought him out. And he just said, hey, I need all three of you to know that my first plan was going to be just to tase all of you, which there's a whole conversation that could be had there. I'm just sharing my experience. I was like probably early college.
Okay, college. Okay.
Yeah. He's like, this is...
You deserve taste. Okay.
I mean, and I get what he was doing. He was probably like trying to scare us a little bit.
Yeah.
And it worked. And then he goes, mind you, this is not a big city that I live in. So he goes, I need to see your IDs. Well, here's the truth, is that all three of us were pastors' kids of really prominent pastors in the city. And he knew all of our dads.
Uh-oh.
And so he was like, so are you going to tell them, or am I going to tell them?
Uh-oh.
And that is, the lesson is not anything about police work or anything like that. He was doing what he was supposed to do. The lesson is, well, don't be stupid. But
There you go.
it was interesting. I remember thinking, like, I didn't do anything technically wrong. I was still on the other side of the fence, but I was close enough to the fence that I had the same punishment as the guy who went in. And I think a lot of times in my life, I've tried to toe the fence as much as I can, but not go over into whatever that is. And oftentimes the actual natural consequence in life is the same as if you'd just gone right over. Like it's been a 36-year journey of learning that running the other direction of the fence is the best path, not the one that's right up against the fence.
Yeah. It's good. Well, explain your tattoos. So those are prison tattoos, then I'm guessing. That's what I'm hearing you say, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was pastor's kids in a fence. It was not that deep, but
yeah. Wow.
But got us good though.
I didn't want you to get tased, but I was kind of, that were removed time wise. I was hoping the story would have ended with you just getting a little zap. That'd have been a great story.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, there was somebody in the storage unit, like they were running around and trespassing improper. So I get that.
Well, and your whole point is true, right? Is God loves us so much that when it comes to sin, let's put it in this category, He doesn't want us to walk the tightrope.
Right.
He wants us to be free. And there's not freedom on the edge.
Right.
Right. It's back where you don't have to worry about it, in this whole idea of guilt by association, or, Scripture says, bad company corrupts good character, all those things that you make reference to there. I think it's sound advice to, in those areas where God asks us to be obedient, not to walk on the edge, so that you can be fully free.
Right.
Because I guarantee you, in that situation, as you are on that fence watching this happen, you probably weren't at peace. You're feeling it, right? And then all of a sudden, cop cars, canines show up. You were feeling it.
Yep.
Right. I think that's important. I didn't grow up a pastor's kid, so my stories are a little different in the criminal area as younger. But yes. So I understand about being around people and getting in trouble with them, and them influencing you. So let's take the cops out in their timing. So let's say they're not there. You said within 3 minutes, right? Let's say 15 minutes.
Right.
I'm guessing you'd have been in that storage unit packing out a drum set.
Could have been.
Right?
Yeah, could have been.
Something would have happened.
Yeah.
Because it looked like the plan was to get over the fence, go to the storage unit.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And cops interrupted how you would have been influenced in peer pressure.
Yep.
Right? So in a sense, there is, understanding this idea and being aware of, we're influenced by those around us, and there is consequences with that. And, we want to be stronger than that, because again, it's right back to this. It's not a big heavy. It sounds kind of heavy, but it's about freedom. We get to be free.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that was the thing for me, is like, it was using geography with it. Like, there was a road, there was a strip of grass, and a fence. Other side of the fence, it was trespassing. I was in the grass. That's not trespassing, but it didn't matter. I was close enough to it that it was the same as if I had been over there anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that, I don't know, I just think that's so easy to test. I think it's easy to push those lines with whatever it is personal disciplines or practices or whatever, instead of kind of making up your mind to run in the other direction, not away from it, but to something, someone.
Yeah.
Instead of kind of towing the, well, if.
Yeah, exactly. And that's usually where we we kind of flirt with that and get drawn in.
Yeah.
And again, God loves us. He's such a good dad.
Yeah.
Right. And it just, no, they don't live like that, man. There's so much more to be had, so much more thrilling existence versus
so many more drum sets to be accessed.
Yeah, free ones,
not in other people's property.
Yeah. Oh man, I know. Yeah.
Let's get one more from you. What's another
lesson? Man, and maybe on a lighter note.
Sure. Yeah.
That's good. But I've coached a lot. What I've learned over, I don't know what it is. Yeah. Whatever, it's 30, 30, something like that. 30 years coaching career.
Mm-hmm.
Coached a lot of teams, multiple sports in a year. I've learned what I think is a secret sauce to success. Now, it has to be a recipe. Other things have to be at play. But the thing that is most significant is team chemistry and team unity. And so in the second half of my coaching career, I worked so hard at developing team chemistry and team unity because I knew when you had that, you would always overperform. If you didn't have it, you could have the greatest athlete. You always underperform. So in a sense, when you have that going for you, a mediocre team could be decent.
Yeah.
A good team could be a great team.
Sure.
And a bad team could be an okay team, right? I mean, talent's a big factor in things as well. Like I said, it's a recipe. But I think the greatest factor is team unity. And that is a universal truth, right? We're called family, a body, and church, right? You go to homes. When I go into homes and I see them, you can tell the homes that are vibing with each other and they're healthy and they're good.
Yeah.
But the homes that there's a lot of contention and there's different directions and there's no unity are, kind of by definition broken and they're painful and they cultivate a soil where healthy people don't get grown there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so the idea of unity and culture is massively significant. And I was awakened to that through coaching sports. And so, like I said, it guided how I did my teams. If you talk to any player I coached over the years, they will talk about the culture I created.
That's
right?
cool.
Yeah.
That's really, it's probably not necessary to shout out the Lions, but I feel like that's a pro example.
Anytime we get a chance.
Listen.
Come on, Lions. Because you don't know, it could be over.
I know it could be over. It could be over. But I feel like that's a pro example of, in a coaching standpoint, like Campbell went in and reset the culture.
Yep.
And that, like, they've specifically talked about drafting and trading for people who first and foremost fit a culture.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to dig a little deeper into that when it comes to like your home family.
Yes.
And like small group, community group, whatever, you're a part of. Like, what does it look like to, when you don't have someone who is the coach?
Yeah.
What does it look like to develop that type of culture in some of our more day-to-day like teams that we're a part of, families that we're a part of?
Yeah, well, I think you look at Ephesians, it says, children, obey your parents, right? And it says, fathers, do not exasperate your children, right? But bring them up in the fear and admonition of the Lord. That is a culture statement.
Yeah.
So when it teaches on homes, and that whole section starts in with wives and husbands, it is a culture-speaking thing. Like, when I give parenting advice and these things, what I say is I'm not going to tell you do this and do that, because part of the recipe of the chemistry in the home is the makeup of everybody. For example, I have some friends that are from Italy, and when you're around them, they're screaming and shouting at each other. You ever been around someone from Italy?
A couple.
Or even East Coasters around in the U.S. You're like, whoa, for us West Coasters, and especially how I'm wired, with my home is a gentle home.
Yeah.
Right? There's no shouting. There's no screaming. My girls would cry if I picked up the pace of my talk. That was yelling in our home. No volume change. If it's just the pace quicken with my words, dude, you're yelling at me, right?
You were ruthless.
Oh, it's incredible. Oh, they would say that. But then I go to my Italian friends, and they're screaming those most personal things at each other as loud as you can get, but all of a sudden it's over. And what I learned in that about culture in the home, it's made up through the people, how they're wired, and what the messaging is. Is it safe? Is it nurturing? Is it encouraging? And that could be at different volumes and different paces. Each family has to discover that.
Sure.
And everyone has to understand that. And then the home could be the home and have a healthy culture. But back to Ephesians, it's all about culture. And I just tell families, I said, let's look at your culture. That's what you're going to grow your children in, is a healthy culture in your home.
That's really good. I also want to know if you were just disciplining me because your voice got a little faster.
You heard that? Yeah. That's
started,
probably the liquid death.
I started to feel it.
Feel it? Yeah. Josh, you're in trouble. Yeah. Scott, you're talking too fast.
Dude, thanks for a good conversation, as always. If you're feeling edgy, Liquid Death. It's pretty interesting.
And Liquid Death, please sponsor us.
Some tea, some water. I mean, I don't know what their company stands for and other things, but it's pretty tasty. I'll give you that.
Is there a hidden cross here somewhere? Come on.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, pretty tasty. But one of the things I've loved about these episodes is I feel like more often than not, culture is something that bubbles out.
Yeah.
So that's something we'll continue to try to be intentional with dissecting and talking about and discovering, because I think we're always a part of culture, a part of developing culture and being developed by culture, but it's not always intentional.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't even remember who the quote is, but I'm remembering the quote, like there are no accidental saints. You don't accidentally end up being an apprentice of Jesus. There's intentionality in there, and we're going to keep talking about what that means Monday through Saturday and on Sunday and all the different phases. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, if you have any thoughts or questions, you can send them over to us at morethansunday@northshorechristian.org. We'd love to hear from you and be able to answer some of those, and we'll catch you next time.
All right. Love you all.